You know, there was a time when the word Star Wars actually meant something. A time when that opening fanfare could make grown men feel 10 years old again. When lightsabers weren't just props for corporate theme park selfies. And when George Lucas still had enough midichlorians in his bloodstream to remember what a story was. But those days, my friends, are gone. Star Wars isn't just limping along on life support anymore. It's already been legally declared deceased, the paperwork's signed, and the corpse has been lowered 6 feet under. All that's left is the faint sound of Disney executives shoveling dirt and counting the merchandising royalties. And yet, somehow out of this cinematic graveyard, Lucasfilm has announced its glorious resurrection, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Yes, that's the title. Not A New Hope 2.0, not Revenge of the franchise, not even The Force Needs a Drink, just The Mandalorian and Grogu. You can practically smell the creative bankruptcy seeping through the screen. After 6 years without a single theatrical Star Wars film, this is Disney's grand comeback. Not a bold new story, not a visionary director with something to say, just another spin-off of a spin-off starring a glorified mascot and a man whose entire personality is Helmet. When you think about it, Disney could have gone big. They could have thrown everything at the wall. New worlds, new characters, fresh ideas, maybe even remembered what adventure feels like. Instead, they've chosen to release what looks like a 2-hour TV episode stretched thinner than C-3PO's dignity after Rise of Skywalker. The trailer dropped, and the internet collectively yawned. A few CGI explosions, some beige planets, Pedro Pascal mumbling through a voice filter, and of course, the ever-adorable Baby Yoda doing, well, Baby Yoda things. He blinks, he coos, he waves his little green hand. Congratulations, you've just watched 80% of the movie. It's the cinematic equivalent of eating plain oatmeal for the 7th day in a row. You don't hate it, exactly, but you can't remember why you started eating it in the first place. Ah yes, Grogu, or as marketing departments call him, the green ATM machine. When The Mandalorian first hit Disney Plus back in 2019, everyone lost their collective minds over how cute he was. Plush toys sold out, memes flooded the internet, and for a brief shining moment, it felt like Star Wars had found its new cultural icon. The problem? He's a storytelling black hole. Keeping him a perpetually mute infant means nothing ever changes. He can't talk, can't grow, can't develop. He just exists to look adorable while slurping soup. But the second they let him grow up or speak, the spell breaks. He stops being cute, and the merchandise gravy train derails faster than a Disney quarterly report. That's why Favreau originally wanted to write him out after season 2. He'd run out of ideas. But Disney, smelling the sweet scent of Baby Yoda lunchboxes, said no chance. And so Grogu stayed. Not because the story needed him, but because the shareholders did. Now the poor creature is trapped in creative purgatory, doomed to repeat the same look cute, wave hand, save Mando cycle until the heat death of the universe. It's like Groundhog Day, if Bill Murray was made of felt and powered by consumer nostalgia. You'd think that after 6 years of cinematic hibernation, Lucasfilm would pull out all the stops, breathtaking visuals, sweeping music, something to make us remember why we ever cared. Instead, what we got looks like an AI-generated fan trailer. Every frame screams content. Not art, not vision, just content. Random desert planet? Check. Blue-gray lighting? Check. Stormtroopers doing stunt choreography that would make Power Rangers blush? Double check. It's so algorithmically bland that I half expected the trailer to end with a pop-up asking if I was still watching. Once upon a time, getting Sigourney Weaver in your movie was a badge of honor. The woman's a sci-fi legend. Alien, Ghostbusters, Avatar 2, The Water One. But nowadays, she seems to pick projects the same way I pick what bottle to drink from on a Friday night. Whatever's closest. The drinker puts it best. She's become the female, Samuel L. Jackson, an icon who's forgotten the meaning of no. When your franchise resurrection relies on nostalgia casting for actors who've already cashed every check in Hollywood, you know you're scraping the bottom of the cantina barrel. And then there's Pedro Pascal. Bless him, he's everywhere. The Last of Us, Gladiator 2, The Fantastic Four, your mum's Netflix queue. But he's made no secret of the fact that he's utterly done with The Mandalorian. Half his performance now is a voiceover done from a sound booth in his pajamas, while some poor stunt guy sweats under the armor. If that's not the symbol of modern Star Wars, soulless, outsourced, and phoned in, I don't know what is. There was a time when The Mandalorian felt fresh. It wasn't amazing, but it at least looked like Star Wars. The first season had grit, mystery, and a tone that reminded us of space westerns. But as with all things Disney, what started as passion quickly became a spreadsheet. Season 3 was the breaking point. A chaotic jumble of subplots, celebrity cameos that felt like TikTok challenges, and the glorious arrival of Jack Black and Lizzo, two people whose combined acting ability could barely power a light bulb. Mando was sidelined in his own show so they could promote yet another interchangeable girl boss character, Bo-Katan, whose entire personality consists of helmet hair and muted self-importance. The actress herself later admitted that playing her caused an existential crisis. That's not empowerment, that's creative malpractice. The show became the very thing it was supposed to fix: sterile, committee-driven nonsense disguised as storytelling. And that, right there, is the real problem. The Mandalorian and Grogu isn't a film born from artistic passion. It's a financial algorithm wearing a cape. Somewhere in a Disney boardroom, a group of marketing execs ran the numbers, compared merchandise sales, and concluded that The Mandalorian was still the least risky asset. So they greenlit a movie not because anyone had something to say, but because Grogu plushies still outsell Rey action figures by 300%. It's filmmaking by Excel spreadsheet, a production strategy so safe, it might as well come with training wheels and an ESG scorecard. Every frame, every decision, every note of music screams corporate risk management. That's not storytelling, that's taxidermy. You're not reviving Star Wars, you're embalming it. The brutal truth is that nobody gives a flying bantha about The Mandalorian anymore. It had its moment, a few years of meme glory, a merch boom, and the illusion that Disney had finally found its footing. But mainstream audiences never latched onto it the way they did the original trilogy. Ask the average person on the street who Din Djarin is, and they'll stare at you like you've just asked for directions to Camino. When your most popular character is a mute puppet, and your second most recognizable one never takes off his helmet, you've officially run out of human connection. And when your third season actively destroys whatever goodwill you had left, turning once loyal fans into bitter exes, you're not building a movie franchise, you're performing an autopsy. Look back across the past decade. Every creative decision Disney has made with Star Wars has been the safe one, the easy one, the marketable one. The Force Awakens was a remake of A New Hope. Rogue One was literally a prequel to the opening crawl of A New Hope. Solo was a film nobody asked for about a character we already knew everything about. And The Rise of Skywalker was a cinematic apology tour stapled together with nostalgia glue and the tears of screenwriters. Now, after half a decade of nothing, their grand plan is another Mandalorian episode, but longer. It's the equivalent of serving leftovers from a dinner party everyone already got food poisoning from. And the saddest part, Disney executives genuinely believe this will work. Because in their world, success isn't measured in artistic legacy. It's measured in quarterly revenue and trending hashtags. If the Baby Yoda plushie line spikes for one weekend, someone in Burbank gets a promotion. Let's not pretend Pedro Pascal is dying to play Space Dad again. The man's Hollywood's favorite chameleon, charming, witty, infinitely memeable. But the moment he had to spend 12 hours sweating in armor while someone else got all the close-ups, he mentally checked out. He's admitted as much. Most of The Mandalorian now is body doubles, stunt guys, and recycled voice clips. That disconnect bleeds through the screen. You can feel the absence of passion, not just from him, but from everyone involved. The camera moves like it's half asleep. The dialogue sounds like it was written by ChatGPT on Ambien. Even the music, once the show's strongest point, now plays like it's trying to remember the melody to the Book of Boba Fett. Let's entertain a wild fantasy for a second. Suppose The Mandalorian and Grogu turns out. Fine, not great, not revolutionary, just fine. Do you honestly think that'll be enough to save Star Wars? After Rise of Skywalker, after Obi-Wan, after Ahsoka and The Acolyte, and whatever other half-baked Disney Plus projects have drained the fandom's patience, one passable movie isn't a resurrection. It's a twitching nerve in a corpse. To bring Star Wars back to life, they'd need a string of absolute bangers, fresh directors, bold storytelling, something that doesn't smell like corporate boardroom sweat. Instead, they're doubling down on the safest. most risk-averse choice imaginable, the cinematic equivalent of reheating McDonald's fries and calling it gourmet cuisine. The irony is that the original Star Wars succeeded because it took risks. It was a mad, impractical idea. A space opera about laser swords and daddy issues, filmed on a shoestring budget by a bunch of nerds who didn't know it would work. It shouldn't have succeeded, and yet it changed cinema forever. Disney's version, on the other hand, can't even take the risk of letting a character age. It's all templates and algorithms now. Every line of dialogue is focus tested. Every plot twist is checked against audience sentiment analysis. The galaxy far, far away has become a spreadsheet close at hand. And so, instead of heroes, we get hashtags. Instead of myth, we get marketing. Instead of hope, we get homework. Here's the truth. No one at Lucasfilm wants to admit. You can't save Star Wars with baby steps or baby Yodas. You save it by caring again, by giving it to storytellers who actually have something to say, by remembering that the magic of Star Wars was never about toys or box office or streaming minutes. It was about wonder until that happens, until someone at the top grows the guts to take real creative risks instead of milking the same exhausted formula. This franchise will remain exactly where the drinker said it was. Cold, buried, and forgotten. So pour one out for Star Wars, lads. The galaxy's gone quiet, and unless something truly miraculous happens, the Mandalorian and Grogu won't be the second coming. It'll be the final shovel of dirt on the coffin.